guys, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Katie, and today I'm doing my winter new releases that I'm excited about. So I have my other phone with me so I can look these books up because I can't do it on my phone because I'm filming on my other phone. Anyways, so I have my Goodreads up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do, January, February, and March. Now, there was a lot, I believe, in March. I have mainstream fiction and I have Christian fiction. So I usually do the mainstream fiction first. So we're going to go to, let's see here. Let's do, since I only have like a couple thriller mysteries, let's see if any of them come out. Okay, one comes out on March 18th, and that is Pomona Afton Can So Solve a Murder. I just like the title, it's fun. So this one says a spoiled heiress must investigate her grandmother's death in order to gain back her trust fund, all while discovering how to be her own person and maybe even falling in love. And this rom-com meets murder mystery. When Pomona Afton, Upper East Side hotel heiress, stumbles out of a gala and upon the scene of her grandmother's murder, her first thought is that the society queen won't be missed for her kind cookie baking ways. In fact, she was mean, greedy, and paranoid. So paranoid that she secretly slipped a clause into her will mandating that should she die an unnatural death, all the family assets get frozen. And if the unnatural death isn't explained, those accounts stay frozen. That just sounds amazing. And I think I have a NetGalley arc of that book. All right, then let's see if there's any romances that come out. No, they don't. Not until April. All right, then we're going to go into middle grade books. Yes, there's a few that are coming out soon. So the first one, I try to do these in order for you. Sometimes that doesn't happen because you know Goodreads. So the first one that's coming out on January 28th, and that one's called The Secrets of Underhill by Callie Wallace. And this one says an 11-year-old arborist apprentice fights to save an ancient grove of magical trees that hold the key to her community's survival. And it says Nick Sixsmith has spent her whole life on the road. The daughter of a traveling arborist, she and her mother move from town to town, caring for the ironwood groves the communities rely upon. When a dangerous blight takes hold of these magical trees, they must journey to the city of Mistwood, her mother's hometown, for answers. Nick can't wait to explore the prosperous city of Mistwood and all it has to the bustling markets and workshops, neighborhoods built under a roaring waterfall, and the vast ancestral grove of ironwood trees. But dark secrets simmer beneath the surface as people start to disappear and tensions rise in the city. That sounds really good. And then the next one comes out on February 4th, and that is The Rehearsal Club by Laurie Petrow and Kate Fodder. And it says a mystery spans decades at the Rehearsal Club and the story of sisterhood, friendship, and following your dreams under marquee lights. 12-year-old Pal Gallagher is a newly minted New Yorker who loves to make people laugh and is hoping to find kindred spirits in her new city. Her older sister Naomi lives at the Rehearsal Club, a historic boarding house for aspiring actresses. Pal quickly gets swept up in the glamour and high stakes of the theater world and is drawn into a decades-old mystery about Posey, a boarder who is kicked out of the club for reasons unknown. So I think it's going to be dual timeline in 1954 as well. So that sounds really good. Then the next one comes out on February 11th, and this one's called Away, which is by Megan E. Freeman. And it's actually continuing a series that I did not know was going to be a series. And the first book was called Alone by Megan E. Freeman, and I did read that one, and it was pretty good. I did enjoy it. So this one is like another like weird, like something happens within the community that there's like no explanation, and these kids are kind of left to fend for themselves. So in this one it says a group of children investigate the threat that prompted large-scale evacuation in this powerful and dramatic companion novel to Alone. So it says after an imminent yet unnamed danger forces people across Colorado to leave their homes, a group of kids, including an aspiring filmmaker and a budding journalist, find themselves in the same evacuation camp. As they cope with the aftermath of having their world upended, they grow curious about the mysterious threat. And as they begin to investigate, they start to discover that there's less truth and more cover-up to what they're being told. That sounds really good. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think they are, they're free verse novels, I think. Don't quote me though. I could be wrong. And then the next book that comes out, I think there's two more middle grade books that are coming out. One is called Somebody's Someone, and this comes out on March 4th. I did forget to say a couple of the other release dates, but I always put them on the screen too. But Somebody's Someone by Alinda Oatman High. And this one says, 12-year-old Ruby Bean has become an accidental expert on missing mothers. When her mother Ruthie goes missing again due to mental illness and addiction, Ruby and her aunt leap into action to search for Ruthie. A jewelry store robbery and unexpected kindness from the victim bring more twists to the journey. From Georgia to Washington to New York City, Ruby discovers that sometimes even the worst events can bring the best surprises into one's life if you keep believing. Someone sounds really good. I have a feeling it's going to be heartbreaking, but it also sounds like it's filled with hope, so I'm excited. Then the last middle grade that's coming out that I want to read is called One Wrong Step by Jennifer A. Nielsen. And this is set in Mount Everest. And it says, for a climber, letting go means certain death. For Atlas, it means something even worse. But he'll have to learn how to let go and look up if he ever wants to see the top. 12-year-old Atlas has been trying to forget the memory of his mother by climbing mountains ever since she died when he was 9 years old. When his father signs him up for an expedition group hoping to be the first to ever summit the unconquerable Mount Everest, Atlas can't wait for the chance to prove himself to his father, and maybe finally he can leave his mother behind him on the mountain. Sounds really good. I'm just going to stop there. I have a feeling there's going to be lots of dangers involved, and I think it's going to be a good time. All right, so that's everything for middle grade. Let's see if there's historical fiction yet to happen. No, not for the first 3 months. All right, so fantasy and sci-fi, there's probably going to be quite a few here. Yes, there's quite a few fantasy and sci-fi on my list. All right, so I'm trying to go in order here. All right, there's 2 coming out on January 14th. The first one is Water Moon by Samantha Soto Yambeo. And this one says it's on the back streets in Tokyo, where lies a pawn shop. But not everyone can find it. Most will see a cozy ramen restaurant, and only the chosen ones, those who are lost, will find a place to pawn their life choices and deepest regrets. Hana Ishikawa wakes on her first morning as the pawn shop's new owner to find it ransacked, the shop's most precious acquisition stolen, and her father missing. And then into the shop stumbles a charming stranger, quite unlike its other customers, for he offers help instead of seeking it. That just sounds so good, right? And then the next one is on January 14th, too. The Vanishing of Josephine Reynolds by Jennifer Moorman. This one says, can an entire life be erased by one thoughtless wish that changes a single moment? Josephine Reynolds never imagined she'd be a widow in her mid-30s. Grieving and barely able to contemplate one more night alone, she carelessly wishes she'd never been born. At the exact same moment, her inbox dings with an "It's a link" from her sister that lists local foreclosures. And to her immense surprise, she sees her great-grandmother's house listed and immediately conspires to reclaim it. But as Josephine restores her great-grandmother's home to its original glory, she comes to realize not everything is as it seems. Replacing the modern front door with the original hand-carved and solid wood one, she notices minuscule words carved into the edging. As she speaks the words aloud and opens the front door with its original key, Josephine finds herself transported back almost 100 years ago to a 1920s party thrown by her great-grandmother Alma. Does that sound good? I love it. I love time travel. Oh, that just sounds amazing. Does it sound amazing? I think it does. All right. Next one comes out on January 16th, and I'm not sure if this is going to be one for me. I don't know yet. But we'll see, It could be. I just liked it because the cover was cute and it mentioned dragons. I love dragons. So this one's called The Baby Dragon Cafe by Amna Qureshi. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. It could be Qureshi. So this one is a cozy romance. And it says, when Saphira opened up her cafe for baby dragons and their humans, she wasn't expecting it to be so difficult to keep the fires burning. It turns out young dragons are not the best magical animals to keep in a cafe, and replacing all that burned furniture is costing Saphira more than she can afford from selling dragon-roasted coffee. Aiden is a local gardener and a local heartthrob, more interested in his plants than actually spending time with his disobedient baby dragon. When Aiden walks into Saphira's cafe, he has a genius idea. He'll ask Saphira to train his baby dragon, and he'll pay her enough to keep the cafe afloat. So it sounds super cute, sounds cozy, but let's hope it's clean, right? I'm hoping for a clean, cozy fantasy romance. Hopefully. Next one comes out on February 4th, and this one's called The Mulligan Curse by Diane Barnes. And this one says, Mary Mulligan has 2 problems: her wisdom teeth and everything else. Her only daughter is moving overseas, her husband would rather go golfing than spend time with her, and Mary's left to wonder why she abandoned her career ambitions when loneliness is all she has to show for it. Plus her teeth really, really hurt. But that's one problem she can fix. Never mind the stories that say if she gets her wisdom teeth removed, The last 30 years of her life will be erased. In fact, Mary wouldn't mind if the Mulligan curse were actually true. I'm going to stop there. That sounds so good, right? I mean, who thought of like a curse mixed up with your wisdom teeth? I just think that's so funny. The next book comes out on February 25th, and this is called The Otherwhere Post by Emily J. Taylor. And I read another book by her recently, and it was pretty good. It was a YA fantasy, and for the most part, it was a clean fantasy. So I'm hoping that this is going to be another one. So this one says, 7 years ago, Maeve Abernathy lost her world, her father, even her name. Desperate to escape the stain of her father's crime, she lives under a fake name, never staying in one place long enough to put down roots. Then she receives a mysterious letter with 4 impossible words. Your father was innocent. To uncover the truth, she poses as an apprentice for the Otherwhere Post, where she'll be trained in the art of scriptomancy, the dangerous magic that allows couriers to enchant letters and deliver them to other worlds. But looking into her father's past draws more attention than she planned. So, for the most part, her other book, there was magic, but like it wasn't, I would say, dark magic, you know? So I didn't feel any discernment against reading that book. So I'll try this one and see what I think about it. Next, we're going into March, which has quite a few more coming out. The first one comes out on March 11th, and that one's called Love and Other Paradoxes by Catriona Silvey. I think this is going to be like a romance fantasy, but like contemporary romance fantasy, if that makes any sense. So this one says, one of the greatest love stories in history gets derailed when a struggling poet at Cambridge runs into a time traveler who agrees to help him find his muse. A thoughtful and uplifting romantic comedy, which I think is going to be so cute. Cambridge University, 2005. Student Joe Green scribbles verses in the margins of his notebook, dreaming of a future where his words will echo through the ages, all while doubting it could ever happen. Then the future quite literally finds him in the form of Essie. She's part of a time-traveling tour, a trip for people in the future to witness history's greatest moments firsthand. The star of this tour, Joe Green. In Essie's era, Joe is renowned as Shakespeare, and he's about to meet Diana, a fellow student and aspiring actress, who will become his muse and the subject of his famous love poems. But Essie is harboring a secret. She's not here because she idolizes Joe. Actually, she thinks his poetry is overrated. Something will happen at Cambridge this year that will wreck Essie's life, and she's bent on changing it. When Essie goes rogue from her tour, she bumps into Joe and sends his destiny into his tailspin. To save both their futures, Essie becomes Joe's dating coach, helping him win over Diana. But when Joe's romantic endeavors go off script, and worse, he starts falling for Essie instead, they both face a crucial question. Is the future set in stone, or can we pen our own fates? That sounds so different, doesn't it? I'm like a time travel tour, and you go back in time to meet like somebody famous. That's like such a unique concept. So I'm hoping it's really good. Then there's 3 coming out on March 18th. The first one is Splinter Effect by Andrew Luddington. And this just sounded so good. It was like a fantasy Indiana Jones. I'm like, are you kidding? Yes, please. So this one says, time-traveling archaeologist Rabbit Ward maneuvers through the past to recover a long-lost precious menorah hiding out in ancient Rome. Smithsonian and archaeologist Rabbit Ward travels through time on sponsored expeditions to the past to secure precious artifacts moments before they are lost to history. Although exceptional at his job, Rabbit is not without faults. In a spectacular failure 20 years ago, he lost both the menorah of the Second Temple and his hot-headed mentee Aaron. So when new evidence reveals the menorah's reappearance in 6th century Constantinople, Rabbit seizes a chance for redemption. But from the moment he arrives in the past, things start to go wrong. Rabbit quickly finds out that his prime competition, an unlicensed and annoyingly appealing stringer named Helen, is also in Constantinople hunting the menorah. That's only the beginning. The oppressed Jewish population of the city is primed for revolution. Constantinople's leading gang seems to have it out for Rabbit personally, and someone local is interested enough in the menorah to kill for it. So, it sounds good. Indiana Jones time traveler? Yes, please. Then the next one on March 18th is The Third Rule of Time Travel. There's a lot of time travel going on next year. I sense a theme going on, don't you? I mean, I am not mad about it because my father and I are like huge fans of time travel books. All right, so the next one is called The Third Rule of Time Travel by Philip Fracassi. This one says, time travel can only occur to a point within your lifetime. A rule, you can only travel for 90 seconds. A rule, you can only observe, and the rules cannot be broken. So scientist Beth Darlow has discovered the unimaginable. She's built a time machine that allows human consciousness to travel through time to any point in the traveler's lifetime and relive moments of their life. An impossible breakthrough, but it's not the traveler. Okay, the sentence is wrong. But the traveler has no way to interact with the past. They can only observe. There we go. After Beth's husband Colson, the co-creator of the machine, dies in a tragic car accident, Beth is left to raise Isabella, their only daughter, and continue the work they started. Mired in grief and threatened by her ruthless CEO, Beth pushes herself to the limit to prove the value of her technology. Then the impossible happens. Simply viewing personal history should not alter the present, but with each new observation she makes, her own timeline begins to warp. Sounds really good. All right, then the last one that comes out March 18th is called Murder by Memory, and that's the first book in the Dorothy Gentleman series. And this one says, welcome to the HMS Fairweather, Her Majesty's most luxurious interstellar passenger liner. Room and board are included. New bodies are graciously provided upon request. And should you desire a rest between lifetimes, your mind shall be most carefully preserved in glass in the library, shielded from every danger. Near the topmost deck of an interstellar generation ship, Dorothy Gentleman wakes up in a body that isn't hers, just as someone else is found murdered. As one of the ship's detectives, Dorothy usually delights in unraveling the schemes on board the Fairweather. But when she finds that someone is not only killing bodies, but purposely deleting minds from the library, she realizes something even more sinister is afoot. That just sounds so good. And I heard that it says A Memory Called Empire meets Miss Marple, and it's a cozy space-borne mystery. Cozy mystery? Sci-fi in space? It's going to be like a Doctor Who episode. All right. So the next one that comes out, this is the last sci-fi fantasy book. That's on March 25th, comes out Disillusion by Nicholas Binge. And this one says, a woman dives into her husband's memories to uncover a decades-old feud, threatening reality itself. Maggie Webb has lived the last decade caring for elderly husband Stanley, as memory loss gradually erases all the beautiful moments they created together. It's the loneliest she's ever felt in her life. When a mysterious stranger named Hassan appears at her door, he reveals a shocking truth. Stanley isn't losing his memories. Someone is actively removing them to hide a long-buried secret from coming to light. If Maggie does what she's told, she can reverse it. She can get her husband back. That sounds so good, doesn't it? All right, and then the last, which is Christian fiction, which there's going to be a ton. So grab a coffee. Okay, here we go. I just want to make sure that I don't miss any for you all because, they're always kind of like mixed in and jumbled in, and it's just pure chaos with Goodreads not being in any order. Even if you actually put them in order, they're not in order. All right, so these might not be in order. The first one that I have comes out. I'm going to have one after this that comes before, but we're trying to not forget anything. So the first one is on February 11th, comes out As Sure as the Sea by Jamie Ogle. I read her other book, her debut novel last year. It was amazing, so I have a feeling I'm going to love this one too. This one is set in Eastern Roman Empire in AD 310, in the shadow of Emperor Diocletian's, I don't know how to pronounce that, anti-Christian edicts. Demetria makes a meager living harvesting coral and pearls for a merchant who turns a blind eye to her faith. By night, Demi goes upriver with her brother, Theseus, to obtain provisions for fellow believers in the port city of Myra. Though willing to risk her own life to ensure others are safe and fed, Demi lives with a desperate fear for those she loves, and carries secret shame over her greatest failure. When Theseus is injured in a diving accident, all seems lost, until a stranger named Nicholas appears on the beach and offers help. So, sounds good. And her writing style is really good. I can't wait to read another of her books. Next book is Every Deadly Suspicion by Janice Cantori, and that comes out on March 4th. And I read 2 of her books, and they were both amazing. She is such a really great suspense writer, and I can't wait to read it. So this one says, in Dry Oaks, California, Chief of Police Hannah Keyes has long believed her father Joe is a murderer, justly imprisoned for his crimes. When she is told he's dying and is being given compassionate release from prison, she wants nothing to do with him. But taking him in might be Hannah's one shot at cracking the cold case of his alleged murders, so she reluctantly agrees to oversee his care. Joe's arrival in Dry Oaks seems to set off a chain reaction of crimes. Then an infamous true crime podcaster comes sniffing for information, and Hannah's first love, Jared, shows up, just when she needs distraction the least. As Hannah tries to convince Joe to reveal what he knows about the missing persons, Evidence in the cold case surfaces at a suspiciously rapid pace, suggesting there's more to the murders than people thought. And she's really good at like, because she had another book that I read that was phenomenal, and it was about a character who was accused of her husband's death and was put in prison. And I just thought it was so unique. I'm like, I've never honestly actually read a book like that where like the main female character was in prison for killing her husband. So it was really, I loved it. So I have a feeling this one's gonna be just as good. Then the next one comes out on March 4th. It's Ambush by Colin Coble. I will put anything that Colin Coble does on my new release list. This one says, Paradise Alden's childhood in Nova Cambridge, Alabama was idyllic until the night her parents were murdered. Since then, life has left her scarred. The abuse she suffered in the foster care system, her first love's betrayal, and the Jaguar attack that nearly destroyed her career have led to an unshakable distrust in men, in God, and maybe in even herself. I'm just going to leave it at that. That sounds amazing. It sounds like it's like set somewhere in the jungle or something. It's a sanctuary novel. Next, on March 11th, comes out The Filling Station by Vanessa Miller. And this one says, two sisters, one unassuming haven, endless opportunities for grace. During Jim Crow America, there was only one place Black Americans could safely refuel their vehicles, along what would eventually become iconic Route 66. But more than just a place to refuel, it was a place to fill up the soul, build communities, and find strength. For two sisters, the Threat Filling Station became the safe haven they needed after escaping the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. It just sounds amazing, and I think it's going to be really, really good. Next one, there's another one coming out. Okay, so there's a couple. We got to backtrack here for dates anyways. January 14th comes out Echo Nova by Clint Hall, and the cover, absolutely stunning. It's a fantasy, I believe. I don't think it's sci-fi. I think it's fantasy. So this one says, Dash Keen is about to become the biggest star in history. As a poor teenager living in the dregs, Dash Keen can only escape his dismal reality by competing in illegal rooftop races and staying up late to watch the time net with his younger brother. When there is an opportunity to participate in a competition set thousands of years in the past, he uses his rooftop racer skills to catch the eye of Mr. Martin, head of entertainment for the massive Dominus Corporation. It is a chance of a lifetime when Dominus Corp hires Dash to be a time star, the focus of his own series in which he must survive some of the most dangerous periods in history, including the Cretaceous period, feudal Japan, the Wild West, and the golden age of piracy. Okay, another time travel thing. I'm not mad about that. Then the next one is on February 18th, and that is Truth Cursed by Angie Dickinson. It says, Cressida Hoth is alone in the world, orphaned and unwanted. She is inflicted with a peculiar curse by her mischievous aunts and banished to a finishing school in the secluded kingdom of Dernmont. Students train in every accomplishment suitable for young ladies: music, dancing, etiquette, and strangely, poison making, fencing, and lockpicking. The school is a front for a rebel spy ring, and when her training is complete, Cressida is selected to join a mission to infiltrate the kingdom's royal court. Yes, please. Oh, that sounds so good. Then the next one comes out on March 4th, Above the Circle of Earth by E. Stephen Burnett. Love the color of this cover. Blue and orange. I think they go well together. This one says, the fight for the space mission begins in this homeworld. It's part of a series? I'm not sure. Brock Rivers never wanted to be a repairman on Mars. Years ago, he failed to protect his family, and now he labors across a frontier planet to keep his children alive and escape cause. But the spacefaring humanist regime is taking over Martian colonies, forcing all to join the secular state. Back in Brock's homeworld, his people summon him to fulfill old hopes with a new dream. After decades of cultural isolation, they plan to restore missions for the 22nd century, voyaging beyond Earth to share the gospel in space. Brock must find a ship and recruit a team of misfit believers. They expect opposition from the formidable cause, but not from a mere deceptive enemy. Sounds good. So January 21st comes out Before the King by Heather Kaufman, which is book 2 in Woman of the Way. And I enjoyed book 1. This one I think I'm going to enjoy even more. This one is about Joanna. She's in a wealthy family who aspires to Herod's inner circle. But when her father's esteemed position in the Sepphoris Sanhedrin is threatened, her family resorts to harboring a dark secret. As Joanna navigates the complexities of aristocratic life and an arranged marriage, she is caught between loyalty to her family and her own desires. When tragedy strikes, leading to a life-altering injury and a startling encounter with Herod's financial minister, Joanna must grapple with a new future. one that challenges her sense of duty and hope for love. Sounds really good. February 4th comes out The Nature of Love by Toni Shiloh. This is book 3 in her Love in the Spotlight series, so I can't really say too much about it because it's book 3. There's also no description. But it's book 3. I'm really excited for it because I liked book 1. I loved book 2. Can't wait to pick up book 3. Next is on March 4th, The Daughter of Rome by Angela Hunt. This is book 3 and the final book in the Emissaries. And book 1 and 2 have been in my tops of every year, so I have no doubt that I'm going to love this one. Hopefully it'll stay that way, but I think it's going to be great. I'm not going to, I think I've already read the description, and they're kind of interconnected standalones, but not really. Like the first 2 were kind of standalones. This one I think will bring in some of the characters from both books, so I'm excited to read it. 2 books come out on March 18th. One is Shattered Sanctuary by Nancy Mell. It's the first book in the Erin Delaney mystery series. This one says, grappling with the aftermath of a tragic incident that altered her life, ex-police officer and best-selling mystery author Erin Delaney finds solace in the tranquility of a cabin nestled deep in the Smoky Mountains. But her newfound peace is shattered when cries pierce the night, hinting at a haunting presence lurking in the woods. When local police chief Adrienne Nightingale seeks her help with a baffling murder case, she is thrust back into the world of crime solving. As they delve into the investigation, Erin's intuition reveals chilling truths about the killer's motives and methods. Awesome. Ooh, I think this is going to be an interconnected series because it just says joined by the enigmatic Kaylee Quinn. Kaylee Quinn was another series of hers, right? Oh, great. I'm going to have to read that series first. I haven't read that one yet. Oh, no. Okay, well, I just read that. That's interesting. Okay, cool. Okay, then the next one is Kate Landry Has a Plan, which is book 2 in the Beignets for 2 series by Rebecca Millet. I enjoyed the first one. There's no description of this one. So it's the second book in a series, and I think my mom read the first book too, and she enjoyed it. So I'm excited to check out the next book. And I think there's a few more. Wow, there's a lot. All right, the next one is The Unraveling of Emmeline Delane by Lindsay A. Franklin. Book 1 in the Rivenlia Sphere series. This one says, Emmeline Delane just wants to know what happened to her sister Camille 7 years ago on the fateful day she vanished, literally. Emmeline witnessed Camille unravel and disappear, but no one believes her, since they think she's crazy. The least the cops could do is solve Camille's case. Is a little closure too much to ask? So, a sister who completely vanishes? Yes. Next one, on February 11th, comes out The Perfect Rom-Com by Melissa Ferguson. This one says, she's written dozens of smash hit novels as a ghostwriter. Too bad no one knows it. Aspiring author Bryony Page attends her first writers' conference, bursting with optimism and ready to sell her manuscript, with long-shot dreams of raising awareness for The Bridge, her grandmother's financially struggling organization where she teaches ESL full-time. But after a disastrous pitching session, she stumbles into correcting another author's work in a last-ditch attempt to make a good impression with the agent, and she, as it turns out, is spot on. So, interesting. So, ghost writing. I'm intrigued. Next is An Overdue Match by Sarah Monson, which comes out February 18th. This is the first book in Checking Out Love. And this is about a girl who has alopecia, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's another word for patterned baldness, and it's something that I guess happens within our genes. And so this is about Kelly, Evangeline Kelly, and she isn't heroine material. Her fiance called off their wedding when she lost her hair. And so she's a librarian, and what's a girl to do when her feelings are unrequited? So matchmake. That's what. Armed with library patrons' checkout histories, she's determined to make at least one love connection, even if it's not her own. Tattoo artist Ty Davis is used to people judging him with a single glance, so it doesn't surprise him when the town's quirky new librarian does the same thing and believes his bad boy reputation without giving him a chance. He can't help being intrigued by her, though, so when he discovers Evangeline's secret matchmaking scheme, he's not above striking a bargain with her. That just sounds so good. And a tattoo main character, you don't see that really in Christian fiction. So I'm intrigued. It's different. I think we have only one more. Yes, one more. We're almost done. All right, the last one is Ember Gold by Rochelle Nelson. And this cover, Golden Dragon, yes please. So this one says, fire dreamed of water, but the first sip would be its last. Gilda has spent her life isolated in the wild marshlands, a place too wet for the dragon to go. She's safe there, according to her father, so why is he asking her to leave with him now that she has come of age? There is more to Gilda's family than she knows, and debts need to be paid. Betrayed and shattered, she wakes in a crumbling mountain castle with the beast of her nightmares. Except this dragon speaks like a man and reads books. His kindness confuses her and opens a forgotten longing in her heart, all while Gilda plans her escape from a mountain full of secrets. Yes! Oh my goodness. So it's like a Beauty and the Beast retelling, only a dragon instead of a beast. Ooh, that sounds so good. All right. So those are all the books I'm excited about. There was a lot. My voice is going to be absolutely wrecked around Christmas time because I'm filming this 2 days before Christmas. But I can now relax. I'm not going to talk for the rest of the day because I filmed a lot. But I finished a lot. And we're good to go. We're good to go with this amazing list of winter new releases. There's just so many good ones. Don't they all sound amazing? I mean, come on. Okay, let me know down in the comments which one you are most excited about. There is a lot, especially fantasy sci-fi. Like, this is the era of fantasy and sci-fi. I'm telling you, this first quarter of the year is going to be fantastic for fantasy and sci-fi. I just know it. All right, so I hope you'll have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next video.